push the record button, and then I'm going to upload this to YouTube for the folks that can't come. So as I was telling Leela a second ago, I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time this evening. I just want to go through real quick this first case study that I went ahead and posted on Blackboard for you. It's going to be due not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. So I think that's February the 9th, if I'm not mistaken. And basically the thing that I want to run through with you guys this evening is I want to show you how to do or how to use the USDA Super Tracker website. So real quick, I'm going to unmute you guys for a second. Have any of you guys used this website before?
No.
No.
I
Oh,
I actually went in, I did it a little bit. I went in and played with it yesterday.
oh, okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you guys how you can use it. And honestly, it's actually a really cool tool if you ever want to do, like if you ever have a client and you need to do like a, a nutrition analysis record or something like that. It's actually got some pretty good software. So I'm going to just show you guys how to use it and how it's going to be applied to the case study that we're going to be doing. Okie doke. All right. So again, I'm going to place you guys on mute for just a couple quick minutes, and then we'll just do questions at the end if that's okay. Just I don't want to get any feedback as we're recording. So okay. So looking at this, looking at the main page. Hold on. Let me back up real quick. So when you log on to the Super Tracker, this is actually the home page that comes up. And so actually, real quick, hey Devin, I unmuted you for a second. Can you see my homepage, or can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure I was showing it properly. So, okay, good deal. So when you come onto this homepage, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. Okay, first of all, the easiest, fastest way to do it is just to go right here to Food Tracker. And that will basically allow you to enter all of the information without necessarily creating a profile or anything like that. I actually, obviously, I mean, I've used this quite a bit, so I actually have my own profile. So that's one of the things you can do if you want to, is you can click on login, and then you can register now and set yourself up with a profile. It's kind of cool because if you use this on a regular basis, when you set up your profile, it'll ask you for your age and your height and your weight and all those other good things, so that later on down the road, you can, well, for one thing, you can track your intake over time, but you can also it'll also personalize goals for you with regards to like calories and other nutrients and whatnot. Okay, it looks like it's going to be a pain right now for me to log in as myself. So I'm just going to do it. So just pretend like I'm logged in. Oh, actually, I am logged in now. So anyway, whole point being, if you want to, you can create that profile. Otherwise, you can just pretty much go, when you log on to it, you can just go straight to Food Tracker, and that will allow you to do the calculations for the case study. So as you can see, and this is the case study right here, for the mock patient or for the mock client that we're using this time, I've indicated what their 24-hour food recall reveals. So you're just basically going to take this information and you're going to log it in to the Food Tracker. So the way that you do that, or the way that the Super Tracker is set up, is first of all, over here on the left-hand side, you'll see the date. And in this case, for the case study, it's not, the date's arbitrary. You really don't have to change that date. If you're creating a profile for somebody and you're tracking food intake over a series of days, you always just want to make sure that that date is set to the correct date. But anyway, for the purposes of this, again, you don't have to worry about that. It does have a physical activity tracker, which we're not going to be using that for this particular case study. It does set up a daily calorie limit based on your profile if you're logged in. If you're just simply entering nutrition information or food and dietary information, then it's going to default to a daily calorie limit. It'll say 2,000 calories for your allowance. And then over here on the right-hand side is where it has your daily food group targets. So this is the recommended amount of all of the different food groups that you're supposed to be eating based on what your daily calorie limit is. So again, if you're just arbitrarily, or if you're not logging in and creating a profile, this will default to 2,000 calories here on your daily calorie limit. And then I think what this actually does is it defaults to 6 ounces of grain, 3 cups of fruit, 2 cups of vegetables, 3 cups of dairy, and 5 or 6 ounces of protein. So, and again, I'm getting that based here on your target. Now, what'll happen is as you start entering food items, it'll track your calorie intake, and it'll also track the amount of protein and the amount of grains, vegetables, and fruit that you're eating. So with that being said, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking this information here from the case study and entering it directly into the food tracker. Okay, so basically, you're just going to inventory all of these different things. So for example, the first thing here is the 12 ounces of decaf coffee. So you can just, we'll just put in coffee there. And as you can see, it comes up with different options for you. So in this case, we're looking at decaf brewed coffee. So it's going to bring up the information over here on the left-hand side under food details. It's going to give you the amount here. So the case study was 12 ounces. So we'll say, so it was 12 ounces. So that would be 1.5 mugs. Okay, because you've got 8 ounces is in a mug. So it's 12. So that would be 1.5 times that. You're putting this under breakfast. So you're going to click on breakfast here, and then you're going to add it. Okay. Let's do this with the next thing, which is 3 teaspoons of sugar. So same thing in the search box up here, you're just going to type in sugar. Here it has white granulated sugar. It comes up down here. So you can, and this is going to be 3 teaspoons. She's having it at breakfast. So you're going to select that for your meal, and then you're going to add it to your intake. And so what you can see over here in kind of this middle column, this is where it's going to be inventorying everything that you're adding to your daily intake. And you can see here in the bold and the larger font, it's going to track the number of calories that you had. And then for everything that you add, you're going to select a certain meal to put it under. And so then based on whatever meal that is, it'll pop up under that meal. So you can see here for breakfast, we had the 1.5 mugs of 8 fluid ounces of decaf coffee. Of course, coffee doesn't have any calories, so you've got 0 calories over here. Then we added the 3 teaspoons of sugar, which that's going to give you 49 calories, and it's going to track right there. So I'm going to enter a couple of other just arbitrary things so you can see how this comes up. So let's say she ate an apple we'll say that she had 1 medium apple for lunch. We'll add that. Just again, for just kind of purposes of showing you this stuff, we'll say that she put some peanut butter, or she had a couple tablespoons of peanut butter with that apple. So click on that. We'll make that, let's make that 3 tablespoons and see how it comes up. Again, she had that for lunch. And then let's do some, we'll say raw carrots. Okay, so we'll say she had, I don't know, we'll say, let's do this. Let's say that she had, I don't know, we'll just say she had 1 cup of sliced carrots with her lunch. Okay. All right, so here again, you can see here in the middle, we've got her total calorie intake so far for today is 453 calories. You can again see how many she had: 49 calories at lunch, or 49 calories at breakfast. She had 404 calories at lunch. And then you can see how the calories break down for each one of the items. So that is basically how you're going to be entering these items into her food log. And as you're entering things, you'll notice I'm scrolling back up now to the top of the page. You can see we're under the daily calorie limit. You can see, okay, she's eaten 453 of her 2,200 allotment. Over here under the daily food group targets, you can see she's had 1 cup of her 3 cups of vegetables. She's had a cup and a quarter of her 2 cups of fruits, and so on and so forth. And you can see how it tracks. The other thing that you'll want to note is under here, under the graph is the daily limits. And this is one of the other things I'm going to want you to be looking at, because you can see that she's got, she's eaten a total of 453 calories here, but of those 453, 59 are empty calories. And that's really important, not so much for this particular, well, yeah, it is important for this particular case study, but it's also just important in general for anybody, because obviously we're trying to limit the number of empty calories that people have, just because empty calories contribute to just poor overall nutrient intake. So we want to try to keep those empty calories to a minimum. You can see here, this is based on my profile. I have an empty calorie limit of 266 per day. So of my 2,200 calories, only 266 should be empty, meaning that they don't have any kind of nutrient value, whether it's from vitamins or minerals or protein or whatnot. Also, under this section, under the daily limits, you can also see how much saturated fat and how much sodium is consumed. And this is going to be one of the questions on your case study. Once you have entered all of the food items here and you've tracked everything, you're going to want to figure out how many grams of saturated fat are consumed and how many milligrams of sodium are consumed. So those are all listed right there for you. So with that being said, I am going to, let me unmute you guys. And I want to see real quick, what questions do you guys have on using this program?
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the case study, suppose we do create a profile of our own and it calculates how much calories we need daily for the case study. Should we use that profile or use the default?
No, so even if you create your own profile, that's a really good question. Even if you create your own profile, the questions from the case study are just looking specifically at how many calories she consumed. So it's not going to ask you to compare what your recommended amount is to what she consumed, because you're absolutely right. If you created a profile, it's going to say, you should have 2,000 calories or 2,200 calories or whatnot. So, but all we're asking in this case study is to describe how much is actual consumed and not compare it to what the recommended amount for the profile is. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it'll just calculate calories independent of how much it is recommended.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. You got it. Absolutely. Because, and you can see.
Otherwise, can we use it? I'm sorry. Otherwise, can we use it like without logging? Suppose I do create a profile. Can I use it without logging in the calorie count for the case study?
So can you just go on and enter all the foods and calculate everything out without logging in? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like without logging into my profile.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you just go to, I'm going to log out here for a quick second. Okay, so now I'm no longer logged into my personal account. So if I was just coming to this page and I just go to food tracker, you can just, same thing, you can just go ahead and start typing in the items here and adding them in just the exact same way that we did before. And it'll still calculate out all of your calories and everything. It'll still calculate out how many grams of fat. No, this is not a good example because I'm typing in things that don't have any calories in them. But you can still log everything in without any issues, and it'll calculate out for you like the number of calories eaten and the grams of saturated fat, the milligrams of sodium. It'll calculate out all of this information for you. So you can still determine what it is that she's eating, but you're not comparing it to anything. And the only thing that I would say about if you're doing it like this, if you're just logging it, if you're just going onto the website and entering everything in, just be aware that if something were to happen, if your computer were to crash or something like that, then you're going to lose all your information. But it shouldn't take you more than like 15 minutes to log all this stuff in anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Does anybody else have any questions right now?
No, it's
No.
Okay, great, excellent. What the only other thing I just wanted to show to you guys real quick, just while I have you on here, is if you ever do use this in the future, it's pretty awesome because you can see, you can do, I know we're only looking at the food tracker, but they also have a physical activity tracker on here. And, you know, if you wanted to do, if you wanted to log in somebody's activity or whatnot, you do it pretty much the exact same way that you do your food intake. And that'll calculate out how many calories they burn and that sort of thing. So, and I show this to you guys just because if you're ever counseling clients or something like that, it's a really useful tool. And unlike a lot of the other websites like the MyFitnessPal and that sort of thing, Super Tracker won't bombard you with like a ton of, you know, email spam and that sort of stuff. So it is a really helpful website. So anyway, with that being said, again, if you guys have any more questions about the case study, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. The essence of the case study is just kind of asking you specific questions to calculate out what she's consuming, and then there's a couple of there's a couple more questions that are just asking about how you would counsel her, what you would ask this client to focus on, those sorts of things. So for purposes of the case study and finishing this exercise, I mean, all I'm really asking you to do is just to complete the questions and then just email it back to me at the latest by Sunday the 9th at 11:59 p.m. So you got a little bit of time to work on it. But if you have any questions or if you have any concerns about using the website or something like that, don't hesitate to let me know. Alrighty?
all right. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate your participation, and have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye. You too.
Bye.